All right, let's see how this goes. It looks like we're live. Just double checking still from Slack. All right, good. It's working. Nice. All right, let's get started, guys. So this is a webinar on how to turn a Figma design into a web app using Vaadin Flow. So previously, I guess you could think of it as a series that we had Juuso Kantonen, who was showing earlier how you can make kind of designs using Figma. What's the process that he usually goes through in creating something like that? And now I'm just continuing kind of this stage of how to turn that into an application using Flow, Vaadin Flow essentially. So the agenda today looks like this. Now let me just resize my image, or actually maybe I'll just take my image away so you can see everything clearly. So everything you see here are personal opinions of mine of how to use Vaadin Flow. This is not maybe the Vaadin way to use, but it's my personal way of using, of having like a lot of experience of using Vaadin Flow and just like showing one way of doing that. So it's not the way of using Vaadin Flow. And I'm showcasing here how to start from scratch using start.vaadin.com. And I'm building views that, as I mentioned, have been previously built with Figma or designed with Figma. So this is what Juuso made, I believe, just a couple of months ago with Figma. So very simple view where we have some kind of new employee form. We have some personal details on the left-hand side, some job details, profile picture, tasks for new employee, save and cancel button, along with the header at the top and a search bar. So it looks pretty simple, but there's like multiple things going on here. So I'll explain how to do everything that is shown here. So here's the end result, what it looks like. So it's not maybe pixel perfect copy, as you can see, building that application, but at least like somewhat similar. So you can see that it's the similar thing. So what is not in the agenda today is AI. I'm not using any kind of LLMs or anything like that. I am not using time to make things pixel perfect. My thinking here is to just showcase the process that I've been using for years now myself of how to build these applications. How I do things. Can be useful for others, maybe not as well. There's things like AI happening. Even we at Vaadin have showcased something called Copilot. So something like what I'm showing here might be kind of different in the future, but at the moment, this is the way I use it at least. Accessibility, I'm not focusing on that at the moment, nor I'm looking at responsiveness at least that heavily. And building a fully functioning web app, this is not the topic either in this case. So I'm mainly focusing on how to kind of do the layouting and how to get things started from very beginning. And all the code you will find from this URL on GitHub. Already it's there, so kind of prepared that for you guys earlier today. Now, to talk about a little bit of myself. So I'm a software developer, have been professional since 2008, when I made a small application for the microbiology department in University of Turku. Here's my GitHub page. You can see like things I've been up to, also LinkedIn. I've used Vaadin now for, looks like 14 years, so quite a bit. I've worked at the company Vaadin since 2016, so that's about 8 years. I've been working mostly in the services department, and what that means is that I'm always working with customer projects. So some of them are 1 week long or maybe like a couple of days, and sometimes they are multi-year depending on the customer and the project. So I just calculated just before this that I've been in 27 different customer projects. So that's quite a bit. So I've seen a lot of things. And I drink tea. That's very unfinished. Everybody's always asking, like, you drink tea? Why not coffee? So that's me. And I'm just going to browse through a couple of things. So I built this Liukuri app earlier. A lot of people are using that. So you can check it out from my GitHub page if that interests you. Everything, all the code and everything is there available. And a little bit about myself. So I'll just skip here really quickly. I've used to kind of design. I'm into kind of design related things. So this view you can see here, I built by myself by modeling with Blender. Back in the day when I was building my house, I was into modeling, 3D modeling quite a bit. So I enjoy visual things. This is my house, fully modeled that from beginning, just to kind of play around with things before they were built, just to kind of save a little bit of time. I like taking photographs, playing games with my coworkers, at home, dirt rally, playing some guitar. But you guys are not into that, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself, who I am really, really, really quickly. But let's get to the beef of the subject here. So this is what you're in for. I'll turn this guy into actual application. And the usual way that I start with this is that I kind of dissect things into smaller pieces, because if you just take everything as a whole, it's like too much. But if you start to dissect that, there's kind of this header thing at the top, there's a couple of, we call them in Vaadin vertical layouts, but you might just call them divs, which I usually use myself, HTML divs. You dissect this into two that are kind of side by side. So kind of horizontal layout with vertical layouts, like going downwards. Then you can go further and just dissect basically everything. And this then informs you how you can build your view. So that's the process that I'm going to take. That's the kind of background how I use things, and of course going until the very end. So I'll be referring to this image, I guess, later on. But before going much further than that, let's just start with the actual application. So you can follow along if you want to, just to get yourself kind of acquainted with start.vaadin.com and how to get started with applications. So first thing, as you log in here, with your Vaadin account, if you want to kind of modify things, you have to do that. So you click on the plus button to create a new project. And actually now that I show this thing, let's actually open the design also that user created, so we know what we're building. So it looks like this. This is the end goal that we are after. So here we can see that the application name is Job Planner, that user got kind of these instructions from. There's 4 different views: home, tasks, employees, and settings. So actually there's just one view, but I think it's fun to just start creating an application with 4 views. So I'll just start with that. And looks like user chose a design that looks like tabs layout here in start.vaadin.com. And what this start.vaadin.com is a place where you can get started by having this visual tool by which you will then be able to generate Java code and then modify it on your IDE of choice. So let's get started with this one. So maybe I'll put this on the side so I can see the design here as well. So let's call this now Job Planner. Go with the tabs, add a view, and let's add the home view first. And maybe the home view could be just something I designed myself. So let's put some kind of marker there that it's home view. That's the name of it. Icon, I don't want any icons here. So that will be there. And let's just put something that we know that it's the home view. So I'll put the heading here on the screen. Oops, looks like it didn't stick. There. So I'll call this home view. That's there. Second one is tasks. And for that, let's choose something from here. A pre-made view that just shows something. So that looks like, doesn't look like tasks, but at least there's a list. So maybe we'll use that one. Tasks. The route is tasks. The route here, that's the URL that you're going to go to. So the home view, that's just the parent or the root, where there's no URL parameters or anything like that. So it will look like this. But if you go to the tasks, you can see that the route is now tasks. Next up is the actual employees view. And for that, I'll just use an empty template. So nothing. I'll start from completely scratch. Employees. And route is employees as well. And again, no icon. And why? Because user didn't choose to have any icons here. So I'll just respect that choice of his. And finally, let's put some kind of, maybe a form would be good stand-in for the settings view. So let's take the person form and add that and call it settings. Width, no icon. And also the settings route. So that's what the application looks like at the moment. So it's not really ready yet. We're just getting started, but at least you can see that there's something. And yeah, I'm happy with this. At this point, if you wanted, you could actually tweak the visual styles and try to get the kind of theme looking similar to what's here in the design. But I don't want to do that. There's another trick I can show you how to get started with that, or get the actual colors from Figma, just using a script essentially. So I'm happy with this, and I'll just download the project like that. I'm not going to make any changes. I'm going to use the latest version of Vaadin, which is 24.3, and download. So that's there. And it looks like we got that job planner downloaded. Let's go here and extract that so we can see that it's a zip file. And I'm just going to move it over to my folder where I have all my code. Looks like I have already something there. So let's actually go here, and I'll just rename this to be webinar. Hopefully I don't have that one. Yep, that's good. And now let's just jump off to the code side. So I have IntelliJ on my other screen here, and I'll open the code on the other monitor. There. And new window, please. So the size is here really big, just to make sure that everybody can see what I'm typing here. And at this point, I think it's good if I check the stream as well, if there's anything there going on. Maybe show the chat too. All right, so there's people there. Nice, everything's working. Good. Good. So here's what the application looks like at the moment. And I'll just check that my previous one is not running. Yeah, it's not running. Good. So before I start, I always do this. I stop or don't want to have the browser open every single time I'm restarting the server. So I'll just turn that off and start the application. Maybe I'll use JRebel for this time. Let's see. Although it doesn't really matter because the application is so small. It just takes less than a second, I think, to restart, or at least at most 1 or 2 seconds. So not that much. Well, here you can see the application, what it looks like at the moment. And I'll make this guy a bit smaller so we can see most of the things. So here I have a couple of choices now to make, and I'll just change something here. Maybe you guys can chat and put some comments on the stream there. Would you guys like me to go with the kind of theme approach first or the layout approach first? I've done this like multiple different ways, and I don't really care which way I'm going to go. So whoever writes something first, I'll pick that, or if nobody writes anything, I'll just do whatever. But that's the kind of thing you can do at this point. You can think about just try to get the colors a bit more accurate as is in the design. You can try to think about layout more. Okay, Maxo Loco set layout. So let's start with the layout. That's a good choice. That's what I started today, actually. So yesterday I went with the other approach. So let's get the layout first. So this place intentionally left empty. Doesn't look all that empty to me, but okay, let's say it is. Let's look at what the folder structure here is in the application. We have just 4 views as expected. And we'll start with the employees view. I'm not paying attention to the header at the moment, by the way. By layout, I mean that I want to get the actual view here working. And I'll put this a bit smaller so you can see that. I think that's pretty good. So here's the employees view. What does it have? Bunch of stuff, but I don't want anything. Just get away. Thank you. And by magic, everything's updated with JRebel. And I said I'm a guy who usually likes, or maybe I did say that guys like simple stuff. Instead of having vertical layout there, which is fine to have, which most Vaadin developers use, I guess. Some people might like to use flex layout because that has some nice, it's essentially a div, but it has some nice API things on top of div. But I'm just like a guy who likes simple things, so I usually start everything with a div. And the first thing I see a new employee. I see the save and cancel buttons and all these things. But what I mentioned earlier is that I also like to dissect things. And where did my actual slides go? It's in the other screen, I think. Just one moment. Yep, it went over here. There. Drag this guy back over here. So this is what I mean. So I'll add a div that kind of dissects everything into two here. So there's the left side and the right side. I want these to be separate. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a situation that these are kind of moving kind of in a way that I don't really want to. So I'll just do that first. So let's go here. Get a bit of layouting things. Okay, that's good. But maybe let's first start with the header. So usually you would have an H1 at this point, and I expect that would be a header 1. So, but we can look into Figma just to double check that. Clicking on here, yep, it's a heading 1, so that was chosen. So let's use that and just call it new capital E as well here, and import H1, put it there. And I like to use a pattern myself of like always putting a prefix here, a suffix at the end, just to kind of show what it is. Doesn't really matter, just as long as you're just like following a pattern. So anything goes, of course. And let's look at the stream as well. Did we have a Vaadin plugin in Figma? I'm not sure if there's anything like that. There's a script that I can use to get the colors and everything. There might be something coming in the future for Figma, maybe, or at least for Copilot of like building views in such a way from Figma, but at least not at the moment that I know of. Let's put this guy over here, and maybe I can do this. This is better. So that's that thing here, and now I want to check where I am. There. And let's start with the dissecting part. Oh, there. So that guy needs to go on the left side. So I usually call this a div, and it would be something like left side div. Left side div. So it's a div that's on the left side. Now, what I do as well is I usually just make the flex layout and things like this over here. So I use the Lumo utility. It looks like this, where you can find everything. One thing you can find is display flex. So that means that then you can, okay, interesting, the import went to the other window. Is that the correct one? No. Okay, let's leave it at that. So with that means that it's now a flex layout, but I want that to be actually different directions. I'll use column direction. And since the window is really small here, I just put everything underneath each other, like this. Like that. Okay, that should be good. Now we add this new employee H1 there. And let's see. Yep, and we want to also make the actual div that we have here. We want to make that a column as well. So we do it like this. Flex direction column. And let's put a margin on that as well, so everything is not so together all the time. And then we can also, because this is now the left-hand side div, we want to have, of course, the right side for the other things here. And then, as I mentioned, this would be a horizontal one here, where I put everything. So I'll do that too. So before putting everything on the screen, I'll just add here yet another div. And at this point, you're asking, like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, why is he like using everything for divs, but as I said, I want to do simple things. And then as I'm doing new views, I would then create components out of these. So for example, this could be a flex column div that I use just for my own purpose, because I want to rely on the absolute simple things. And this I'll call a horizontal div like that. And that would be a flex as well. That, as well as I put there like some kind of large. Maybe I'll do that other thing later. So that's there. And now I'll add this guy, left-hand side div there, and the employee is there. And now I'll finally add the horizontal div to the actual div, which is this one here. So this is a div, and I'll add the horizontal there. There. All right, let's see what happens if I get something on the screen. Well, I get something on the screen. And at this point, I could also inspect the styles if they look good, but I don't want to really go into that too much. So let's do the layouting first, as was mentioned earlier. So that's there. And maybe I'll do the save and cancel buttons next, so I get the right side going as well. Or should I maybe start with just go with the left? Maybe it's faster to go with the left fully and then do the right side. Yeah, maybe let's do that way. So left employee there, and now I want to add the personal details, and that would be actual, I think that's a heading of 3, size 3. Yep, size 3 heading there. So let's do that one. And I guess it would be a good idea to put it underneath here. That. Personal details. In a proper application, of course, you would use translations, but I don't have really time for that, so I'm not using that here. Oh, there. And that's H3. And let's put it there. I believe that's a good idea. Like that. And then we have a couple of fields, and maybe we'll start with those as well. So it's a text field. I assume that's a text field, but we can always check. Yep, it's a text field, as you can see. And by the way, you can see that on the left-hand side is here as well as here in multiple different places. So this is using the Vaadin Figma design or Vaadin design system, and it's a Figma file that basically has everything. And that one is called first name. First name, text field, and there's last name. Last name, like that. And an email as well. Email field. And it's called email, unsurprisingly. And then just fill these guys in here. And now I'm also not having enough space here, so I'll just put this vertically instead, because it looks better for you guys. And for me too. I want to be able to see stuff and not have everything hidden here. I should have actually prepared some kind of styling here to do it automatically, but well. So that's there. Let's see what it looks like now. Well, it looks similar, but not really accurate that much. At this point, I guess it's part of the layouting to pay a little bit of attention of what the fields look like. So a good idea, as user pointed out in the previous webinar, is to use the form layout. So that's not the simplest thing. I was thinking of using divs for this as well, but I think here it might be a good idea to cut some corners and use the form layout. So what's that? Let's take a look at the spec or the docs. So form layout allows you to build responsive forms with multiple columns and position input labels above or to the side of the input. So you can do stuff like this. So this is exactly what we're looking for. So what's the code for that? How do we do that? Well, looks like there's some responsive steps that you can define. You can define if you want to have one column like that, and what's the kind of break-off point for two columns. So that's a nice Java API for that. And look at this. So there's this stretch username field over two columns. So we'll actually use that. So, and we want it for the email field. So we'll just take the email field and not that way around. Just we have to have a form layout first. New form layout. And instead of putting everything there, we'll just move these guys over here like that. That's good. And now we just put the form layout underneath here. I didn't put it into a variable yet. So form layout. Maybe let's call the form layout personal details form. I think that's good. Let's see what that looks like now. Okay, still not good. So something's wrong here. So I assume that we need to set some width so that it's not taking the full space at the moment. So we can double check with the inspector as well, just to see what's going on. Assume, yeah, this guy is not taking everything, all the space. So if I just put here with 100%, I assume that's going to fix that thing. And as you can see, we don't have the proper command here for that spreading with the column. So let's do that. And at this point, we can do that. So personal details form set call span. So we take the component that we want to span for multiple ones like that. And also I want to have for the container div, I believe it's this one, to have set width full. And width full is just a shorthand for 100% width. And I still think I'm missing from one place. Was it the horizontal layout as well? What's there? And I think I'm missing it from here. I could use flex grow as well here. I believe there. Right, so it's this one, and this is the left side div. Yeah, this one. All right, so that looks better. So now we have the left-hand side looking slightly better, slightly similar to the design. And let's go with the job details next. So I'm not going to pay attention too much to the other stuff yet. Just put things in correct order, more or less. And job details, let's do that next. And since it's very similar, so here's like, it would be kind of, I could copy paste code to do stuff like that, but maybe I'll just try to get this in a more reusable manner. Let me check here if there's anything I need to pay attention. All right. And maybe I'll take shall take the personal details here. Let's take the form layout as well as everything that I have here. So until here, I want to have the left side div so I can just utilize that still. Maybe like that. Call it create left side div. And in addition, maybe like the form should be separated. So form goes here like that. But I don't want actually that call span to be part of that. So let's go back a bit. No result, thanks. So maybe this part would be, so I'm just adding the forms, the fields to the form like this, and provide that with a nice way. And is there something else I want to do with that? Maybe not at this point. So this might be actually good enough for now. So I'll start with the job details, because there's nothing to be reused here. It's just using a form layout, to be honest. And this is also specific needs if you want to have them. It looks like the job title, team, and supervisor have those. So maybe I'll just copy this guy, put the right side Or continue from here. So where's my... Yeah, from this point on. And next one is actually, it's not good to copy here. Let's just start from beginning. So we just add another header like that, and that's called the job details. Job details H3, like that. And we don't need to set anything for that yet. And then start date. So that's a date picker, I believe. But I can always check. Just go here, and it's a date picker. And we have their start date as the label. And then we also have a placeholder. So the thing that is here is called a placeholder. Set placeholder, and that will be pick a date like that. And we have a needs onboarding checkbox. And let's just put it similar to what we have there, that it would be checked already. Set value true. And then we want to have them in a new form layout, but there's a couple more fields, so let's add those as well. So the job title, team, supervisor, I believe those are combo boxes. Yep, combo box, and text field. All right, let's do that. New text field. Job title. And then the combo box. Team. I'll just use a regular one. I'm not going to be using any types here at the moment. I don't think I need content at the moment for that yet, at least. So that's the team combo box. And another one for supervisor. And there's actually error message there as well. We can do that too. Looks like this is in the wrong place. Let's put it here instead. Oh, what's that? Oh, I have copy pasted that over there. Twice, I don't need that. Yep. So now we add a new form. And this is the job details form. Like that. And let's just put everything there. So first the start date. And then there's the needs onboarding. Job title, text field, team, combo box, and supervisor combo box. Like that. And then we have the job details H3 that goes underneath here. And job details form. So we have the new employee, personal details, the form, job details header, and the form. So that's basically everything on the left-hand side. And let's just see what we get. And I'll also do the call spans and everything like that, so it looks similar. So the first two are fine because they are going to be there on the first row if there's enough space. But job title, team, and supervisor, so they just need to have this set call span 2. And if you're wondering why 2, so by default, the form layout has 2 columns, so that's where it comes from. If you want something else, then you have to configure that, and that's exactly what I'm doing here now. So copy that, and let's just take this guy, and I'll use it for team combo box as well as for the supervisor combo box. And what's the third one was job title. There, that should take care of it. Yep. Make it a little bit bigger. There. So that's the left-hand side. And let's maybe put this into, maybe that would be good to have in error state. So supervisor combo box, just to showcase how that it can be done. Usually you do this with a binder, but I'll just like try to get to the similar result that is in the design. So that's the error. Then we need to still define their actual error. I've never written this type of code in another application, to be honest. Always go with the binder pretty much where it can, or maybe a custom solution. But for showcasing to get to a similar kind of thing, I'll just use that. So that's there, the left-hand side is there. Let's go for the right side and then do the theming part or styling part. So there's two buttons, save and cancel, profile picture, which you can upload, and tasks for employee. And I believe those are, what's the component here? So that's a list box, and that's an upload component, and just two buttons. All right. Put that on the side so I can see better what I'm doing, like that. And let's now do the right side. Here I guess I can use, let's see, for this one, for the buttons, I'll just use a horizontal kind of flex box, so that I can just put them side by side. And then I guess because there's a space on the left-hand side, I have to do something to get them to the end, essentially. And then a little bit of space. And then there's this white box, rounded box, which is kind of something like a card or just some layout thing, under which then I have a couple of components. So let's start with the horizontal one here. But since that horizontal one is also in the containing in the everything, kind of the thing that contains everything. So here we can see this right side. I need to do that first, dissecting that. So that's exactly the right side div, essentially. So it's similar, exactly the same as this part. So flex and column, essentially. Just to get that going first, like that. Let's put that into another method, accept that one. Oops, went a bit far. Just keep that one. And call it create the right side div. Like that. And also have it return it. There. And there I'll put now the next one, actually. This is going to be the horizontal one. So let's call it button div because there's just buttons there. And that would be a display flex. And I can just add a button there. Call it save. So save button. And the theme is primary because that's the main thing that you click there. So we need to add a theme variant to that. And that's the primary one. So they will get the bright color. And next one is the cancel button. that. That's just a regular one, I think secondary one. And then now let's just stick these guys in here and the cancel button. And then we put the button div there, so at the top of the right side. Next, underneath that, we need the other things as well. Let's see how this works. So I haven't added this yet anywhere. That should be there. So there we have something. And on the right side, I think we need to set the width as well for the containing one to be 100%. I think we had it here. Yep, left side is 100%, so let's make the right side as well in similar fashion. There. And for this, I guess I could just put there a small gap already, because there's a small gap over here between the buttons. So with Luma utility, you can do it with just a gap, and might be medium. The way you can figure that out is by going over here and just see what the sizes are. So that's like 0.5 REM. That's the correct one. So maybe that would be actually small. That looks closer. And the button is wider, so that can be changed as well, as with the colors and everything. Now let's do this guy next. And go back here. Dissecting, so that's done like that. Now we have this right side div already, and then we need a new concept, which is called maybe a card. Just theme that later. Let's just make it like look the layout similar as here, and then add everything. So this is the right side, and the right side div, so we'll go over here. And let's call it, I'll just call it a card div for the moment. And it needs to have a bit of padding so that it can stick out everything that's underneath there. So that can be done as well with Luma utilities, padding, and I'll put there, let's see, maybe that's a medium one. I think I need to add other things here as well, so I'll just put this like that. And inside the card div, I put the upload button or upload component. Like that. Maybe make it a bit higher or taller. So that is, what's the size? Is that 19 REM? No, that cannot be that much. Well, let's use at least something that's, maybe that's like 200 pixels or 16.25 I got somewhere else earlier. Let's go with that. And the upload is there, card div is there, and it needs to be added here underneath the button div. Looks like that. And this one is not a flex yet, so that needs to be just a regular column flex. So display flex as well as flex direction column. And not looking like much yet. And then underneath list box. Right here. Not since there's multiple selections, so that would be a multi-select list box, and you can find it over there. So it looks like that. What does the combo box need to be then? I guess it's under list box that you will see the multi-select. Yeah, multi-select list box, so that's the one. And for this, I think I need some types, so just an enum here, help out. So let's put here enum task, and make there like a health check, and health. Easiest way to kind of get something printed there. Meeting with HR. Meeting with HR. Meeting with CEO. And then, well, let's put the item there just for fun. There, and this is missing. All right, and now we just need a constructor here. Also with parameter, make it public directly. So string caption. Like that. So now we can put the task into the list box. Where do we have it? Here. Like that. Task multi-select list box, and add the values there. So set items and everything that's in the task. So that. And looks like there's pre-selected two, so maybe we can pre-select them as well. So it's called select, and then health check, as well as meeting with the CEO, like that. And of course we need to add this guy somewhere as well, because it's not anywhere at the moment. So that should go underneath the card. And we're missing the task for employee. So that's I guess that's an H3. Yep, it's H3. Let's put it there still. Goes before this part. Like that. Task for new employee H3. And that should go after upload. Is that everything now? Let's see. So we can check these. Oh, yeah, we need to have some kind of caption generation. So that works in this way, that you have this method called set item label generator. Take the item, and then you just define what you want to use as the caption or label. And there you have it. Now it looks like that. So I guess that's mostly everything. But we're still missing from the top these guys. So let's add these as well. And then we'll do the final layout. Looks like it's 10 minutes to go or something like that. So let's try to be quick here. So I'll add to that part. And that part, what you need to figure out is that if you go over here and look what's involved here, you can see that we have a Vaadin app layout under which basically everything is. Then we have a header component under which there's a div and a nav. So we would have to have it underneath the header. And to find the header, you have to actually go to the main layout. Then there you will find this code. And here's the header. And into the header, we add the layout and nav. So now we just need a third thing. So it's going to be a horizontal flex component. So I'll just put there another div. And that's called top right div. And that would be display flex. And then we add, so there's, what is there actually? There's a, can I see it? Okay, so there's a text field with icon, there's a button, and then an avatar. So add those things. A text field with another component at the end. And it's not actually a label, so that's a placeholder because it's showing there. So it's something that shows what the kind of thing is used for. And when you click on it, then you're not, and type something, you won't see it anymore. So search text field. And for that, we use the placeholder. So set placeholder search. And then also we set the suffix component, and that would be just an icon, Vaadin icon. And the way we find out which icon, you can go over here, click, and you can see that it's a search icon. And then you just create that. So that's the way you create a Vaadin icon, the easiest way. Then in the top right, we put the search text field, and also put this over here. And the two more components, then we have all the components created. So then that one is button territory, and the icon is bell. Okay, so we add a new button. There's no text here, just the icon. So we just take the Vaadin icon and the bell. I think it's O, which means it's not, there's no fill color. That's the version of that. Then we take that, put it to a variable so we can do some changes. So it's the notification, I guess. That might be the idea. Notification button. Then theme variant. So here we can set that it's going to be a tertiary button, like so. And anything else. I guess that's mainly it. Notification button. And then finally the last component, which is the avatar. There's no names here, but I think we can get the image here. Just look at it. So it's an SVG. Look at the source file. So it's Amazon hosted file. I guess I can just stick it here. Yeah, so it takes a name and a URL. So let's just put something there. John Doe. Then put the URL there. That should do it. So that's the avatar, and put it on the screen as well. Okay, so it doesn't look like much. So let's do a little bit of layouting now. So I'll just put everything on the one line first, and afterwards we can take a look at the theming and the colors, because that's basically what you can do very quickly with Figma, just copy pasting the values from there. So let's go to the main layout here, and let's look at what it looks like here, what needs to happen here. Okay, the header is there. So that's a flex column. So if you take just the column away, that's going to be horizontal. So that's almost there. So from header, we need to take away something. Let's go to the header. Header is there, and that's the column, so flex direction. So using Lumo utility methods there, or classes already. So that's quite nice. So now we're here. Next, looks like this guy is not that nicely aligned. So I think we need to do something with this. I guess align item center would be good. Yep. So that we add to the header. That's the header. I want to put these as well in this manner. So that's that. And finally, we need to move that guy to the other side. So that's one div that I added. It's this one. And yeah, one simple way back in the day I used to do this. So margin left would be one idea. Put it auto, and then maybe have some kind of margin on the right side. Like Turium or something like that. But we can use relative variables here. I mean, you can actually use the Luma variables instead of that. So let's do that. So that goes to the div that I created, and that's in here. This guy. And you would actually have the margins as well with the Luma utility methods like this. So margin.left.auto that exists. Oops. Left.auto, so that works. And then similar to the right side, maybe medium would be good enough. That should do it. Yep. So it's closer at least to what the design looks like. At this point, since we're kind of at the end almost, so I'll just do the color bit here still, so we can get that in at least. So the thing that I wanted to show you, I think Juuso showed it in his webinar as well. You can go to the plugins, and this part, I think you might need the dev mode here, and he mentioned that it's a paid thing. So there's this variables to CSS plugin that you can use, and with that you can go here, ignore aliases, export to CSS, and just generate the CSS that you want to have. Actually, let's just copy that and go to styles.css. And now I can just put it over here in the main CSS, and I don't need to use the root itself. I can just use the HTML element like that. And when I do that and go over here, you can see the colors immediately change. So now it's at least closer. I would still need to kind of iron out more things than this. But let me actually go here and see if there's any comments. The title was clickbait. Yeah, it's clickbait in the sense so that it's not building a full application. It's mainly creating the layout and view here at the moment that I had time for. But this is something that can be continued then, like to actually connecting things here to make this a fully fledged application. So if you want kind of have continuation for it, that makes perfect sense. So this is kind of going from the design then to build the layout. And this is something that you would, to be honest, like to build with a tool. So kind of dragging and dropping. So like why would you want to kind of do it like this if there's another way? So this is still the old-fashioned way, but you can mainly build it other ways as well. But I'm just used to kind of building it many times like this, so it just comes naturally. And now that I look at the code, you of course need to kind of reuse things more, but especially when you start to build your new views. And let's see how these work. The colors are different. Maybe something I could still do that doesn't really scale nicely at all. So we're missing the nice round white box. So maybe we'll do that at the very end. So you're here. I'll do that. So that's just background color, I believe, that has been put there. Right. Where is it? Not the plugins, just inspect. So background shades base. So this is the base color. You can see that it's just white. So the background is white for that one. Oh, and if you look at the colors, so the colors are a bit off. So here the first thing maybe I would even do just to change the colors here, as was it looks like everything wasn't copied over. So the base color of this view is different from the default that we have. So the default with Vaadin is white background and then gray at the top, but this is almost, well, it's exactly vice versa. So that's what we can do as well. Let's maybe do that first. That's better in that sense because it's a bigger change. So background is that one. So I'll just copy that. Let's put here in the styles. Let's see. Where is it here? Lumo base color. So that's what it should be. So this is what it should be. There. So that should change immediately. So now it's closer to that. And now the top needs to change. And that is completely white. And I guess that's just the app layout header. So we can take the header. And always it's good to double check here. So just to make sure what you're doing. So here, so it's the header. And background, show all. Background color. So you can see it's just completely transparent. So that's not where the color comes from either. But we can take from the header at least to make it different. So we can take the header, this, and change the background color. And the color is what exactly? It's just white. Okay. I can put it here like this, or just make another variable if it's used elsewhere. So now I'll just use this because it's not used elsewhere yet, at least. So that looks like that. So it's a bit closer. Right. So I could continue with this, but maybe I'll just save time because now we're kind of looks like it's over. Already kind of past 5, so I don't want to take too much of your time with this one. So I'll just show you the end result that I did earlier today, which didn't take this much longer to do, to be honest. I'll take that one. So I'll just turn this guy off and do the one that I did before today, which you will find the code online as well. So I'll just show that part now. And let's start with, we don't need shareable, so let's just start with the debug mode. And let's see what it looks like. So here's that, and I'll just show you the code regarding, for example, that one. So what I did there, very similar thing. So I reused the create form method because I set the kind of responsive step, so you can actually get it looking a lot closer than this. So you have, it's not responsive fully, but at least there's like a breakout point, and it looks similar to what was created in the design here. And then the card is just a div that I themed in such a way. Well, I did add a custom class name there that you will find over here, that it just sets the background to light background color. And on top of that, the nice thing with Lumo utility, which I used heavily here, as you can see, is you can have the border radius just like this. So just adding this one, if I take it away, and now it's going to restart without JRipple, and it's horribly slow, right? It only took like less than a second. So it's way more edgy now, but if you add the border radius large, it adds a nice border there, or kind of radius, so that looks quite a lot better. Yep, but that's basically it, what I was doing. Just wanted to show you the way I kind of go about creating these simple views with Flow. So this is the method that I've used, and whenever you start to get things like this, that you have, if you're using this heading 3, for example, in multiple places, then the correct way to do this is then create a package like components, for example, and in that you would then extract that class into there, and then you would have that being reused everywhere. So that way you don't, of course, have the copy-paste code that I'm doing here. But live coding, it's quite hard to kind of then do it quickly, because I still failed to kind of fully build this application in 1 hour with that styling. But hey, that's it. So a couple of questions. Maybe I'll just take a couple of questions, then I'll end the stream here. So let's see what you guys wrote. I'll go from the newest to the latest. So are there any plans for a canvas element in Vaadin? Not that I know of, but you can still use it immediately. You can plug you can use any element you want from Vaadin Flow, so there's no restrictions in that sense. You just need to, of course, write. If you're asking like if there would be like a Java API for a canvas, I'm not sure if we have that. Haven't used myself, at least. Might be that there's some Vaadin add-on or something like that. That could be possible for 10 plus. Yeah, and it's taught by Team Partio, so it's actually made by us as well. So you could check that. I haven't used it personally myself. Next one. Okay, there's another one. Anyone know which plugin to allow Java hotspot auto reload page in this demo? I saw a rocket icon in a corner. Rocket icon in a corner. Oh, this one. Yeah, that's J-Rebel, but you don't really, for this type of small application, you don't need it because I'm not using it at the moment. And if I make a small change, like take that away and just build, you can see that it takes nothing to rebuild that. So for this, you don't need it. But for a proper application that takes, let's say, multiple seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute to load, then J-Rebel saves you a lot of time. Yeah. Let's type it in here. Yeah. Been using it since 2011 or 12. J-Rebel, that is. What else? How about functional testing? Is it possible to do functional testing? Not sure what you mean by functional testing. If you mean like testing that via browser, then we have a tool for that called TestBench. So if that's the question, not sure if I understood that. Link to the repo. Yeah, I'll give you the link to the repo. So hold on. Not that one. Here's what I showed today. And I'll give you the link to the presentation as well. Later today. Anything else? I guess that's most of the questions. So I think it's a good time to end here. So if there's anything more you guys like, you can reach us in the Vaadin Discord. There's such a thing as well. Or I think there's Vaadin forums. And we might have like further kind of webinars like this to continue this project. So I understand it's kind of a bit of a meh to kind of get to this point of just creating a layout and that's it. And now would be the kind of interesting part of actually like hooking that up to the proper backend or data, at least to make it do something. But just like creating the layout, this is the method I do. So that's basically it. So have a nice day, guys, and maybe see you later at some point. Oh, Martin, nice. And stopping the stream now.